What's up guys, Pratima here, and this is Samsung's new Galaxy Watch 8 and the Watch 8 Classic. These are easily the biggest upgrades we have seen in Samsung's smartwatch lineup in years. They both have a completely new look, a completely redesigned user interface, and a couple of completely new health tracking features too. So needless to say, these are some of the best smartwatches Samsung has ever made. But doing so, Samsung has also bumped up the prices this time. The regular Galaxy Watch 8 starts at 33,000 rupees in India or $350 in the US, while the Classic costs almost 50% more, which is a lot more expensive than last year's Galaxy Watch 7 or the 2-year-old Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. So, are these new Galaxy smartwatches worth the price? For that, I have been working hard at testing them out for over a week now, and the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, their designs. Here, Samsung is using the same spherical design as last year's Galaxy Watch Ultra, and honestly, I must say that I am not a big fan of it. I get that this squarish cutout is meant to offer extra protection against bumps and impacts, so it's more about function than form, but still, it does not quite do it for me aesthetically. Especially for the Watch 8 Classic, since this 46mm watch has almost the same size display as the smaller 43mm Watch 6 Classic. And another thing I don't like about their design is that you can't use your existing 20mm bands on these guys either. The one good thing that has come out of this new band mechanism is that, as you can see, it now leaves a super tiny gap on the sides for a more flush look. Oh, and Samsung says that this redesign makes the Watch 8 series 11% thinner while also improving the accuracy of health and fitness tracking. Oh, and I almost forgot, the Watch 8 Classic gets some more of that ultra love as well with the new quick button here. I can program it to run different shortcuts like the workout app, and yes, I love it. Just not as much as this rotating bezel though, which has been slightly redesigned with these grooves on the sides for a better grip and a tachymeter around the bezel. And then there are a couple of more subtle differences between these two, by the way. I like how the Watch 8 Classic has 64 gigs of storage instead of just 32 gigs on the regular Watch 8, even though both of them are powered by the same excellent Exynos W1000 chip as last year, alongside 2 GB of RAM. Plus, it also uses a stainless steel frame that is much harder to scratch than the aluminum frame on the Galaxy Watch 8. But I'm frankly not worried about the durability of either of these watches, since this spherical design already helps protect the watch if you're a bit clumsy. Plus, they're also fully dust and water sealed, and they both have sapphire crystal glass for the display, which is literally the toughest glass you can slap on top of a smartwatch. And speaking of display, the Watch 8 series now has a brighter 3000 nits AMOLED panel too. That's exactly 50% brighter than the older Galaxy smartwatches. So outdoor visibility has just been fantastic on these two. And of course, everything else on these Samsung-made display is as good as it gets. There are also a few new watch faces this time, including a bunch of analog ones, but where my eyes immediately went is to this one called Dynamic Digits. Anyway, Samsung has also completely overhauled the user experience this time, which was a little surprising because last year's One UI Watch 6 already had a notable redesign with fresh new fonts and some new style widgets. But the One UI Watch 8 brings a fresh coat of paint pretty much everywhere you look. Now, if you're wondering what the heck happened to the One UI Watch 7, I think Samsung just wanted to match the naming style across different devices. And the biggest visual change this time is definitely how you interact with all the widgets. So on older versions of Samsung's One UI Watch, I could only have one widget on a page at once, that's it. But the fact that I can now stack several widgets onto a single page means I no longer need to endlessly scroll to get to the app that I want. Even though, let's be honest, spinning this rotating bezel on the Watch 8 Classic is still pretty fun. Although the one thing I need to tell you right away is that this only works with Samsung's built-in apps and shortcuts for now. The Galaxy Watch 8 and the Watch 8 Classic are the first smartwatches to come with Google's Gemini baked in as well. Now, I'm not usually someone who uses voice assistants all that much, but I have to admit the idea of having an assistant on my wrist that actually understands what I'm saying is pretty exciting instead of having to reach for my phone every time. And it's pretty great at the basic stuff too, like summarizing my emails and notifications, or even when I'm asking the most random questions like, how old is Barcelona's Yamal? I feel like I'd be using Gemini a lot more if I could also control third-party apps, but nope, that's not possible just yet. Hopefully, that's something Google adds down the line. After all, Samsung does commit to 4 years of OS updates, so I can already imagine Gemini getting a lot more capable in the future. And on top of all these UI upgrades, the Wear OS 6 also brings a sneaky little bonus up to 10% better battery life. I usually test all of my smartwatches by letting them track everything they possibly can as frequently as possible, and under that kind of load, the Watch 8 Duo has been giving me almost 2 full days on a single charge, which is not bad at all. The OnePlus Watch 3 is probably still the Wear OS watch to beat when it comes to battery life, although I am quite happy with what I am getting here as well. I can also get like 40% juice after plugging in for half an hour, which is more than enough to get me through the day, so I am really not complaining. Okay, finally, let's talk about health and fitness tracking. And first off, the Galaxy Watch 8 series uses the same second-gen bioactive sensor as last year's Galaxy Watch 7, which is totally fine, but Samsung has managed to teach this sensor some new tricks with a handful of fresh health tracking features. There are a couple of them, so let me go through all of them one by one. The first one's called Antioxidant Index. This thing basically tries to see how healthy I've been eating by measuring the carotenoid level, a type of antioxidant in my food. It's mostly found on green leafy vegetables, sweet potatoes, carrots, chili pepper and stuff. So I was already nervous about how well I would do here. So I took off my watch, pressed my thumb against the sensor for a few seconds, and bam! The Watch 8 Classic told me my antioxidant level was pretty good with a score of over 80. Interestingly, a few of my office colleagues who were pretty regular with junk food ended up with very lower scores. But from what I have seen online, a lot of Watch 8 users seem to be getting unusually low antioxidant readings regardless of their lifestyle, so I am definitely taking the results with a grain of salt. The Watch 8 series also debuts something called vascular load, which measures the stress on my vascular system as I sleep. I was actually pretty excited for this one since it can provide really useful insights on how active I've been and how well I am getting my rest, kind of similar to sleep score and energy score, but this one is mostly concerned with my heart health. Although I don't know what I am doing wrong because throughout the week I have been wearing it, the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic only managed to get my vascular load reading once. It takes 3 nights to establish my baseline, but I look at the app and it says my watch did not maintain proper skin contact throughout my sleep. I'm not sure what am I even supposed to do now. Moving on, the new running coach feature here should be quite interesting if you're preparing to run a marathon as well. I have no plans for running a marathon and neither do I run that often, but I took its 12-minute running test anyway, and as you can see, it put my performance at a pretty embarrassing level 2 on a scale from 1 to 10, where level 10 would mean that I am ready to rock on a marathon. So yeah, I doubt you will be seeing me run a marathon anytime soon. The last new health tracking on the Watch 8 series is something called bedtime guidance, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It guides me on the ideal time I should go to bed. Sounds great, but it's also the one I have ignored the most because that's not feasible in my life. I can't just leave everything I'm doing and just go to sleep just because my watch told me to. And you know what? I actually don't even want to stay healthy by following every single thing my smartwatch suggests, and all these health tracking stuff on my Galaxy Watch 8 actually made me question if I'm living to stay healthy or staying healthy to live. Like, all of these definitely made me feel overwhelmed to some degree. Like, I've got to do this, do that, I've got to watch out for this, watch out for that. Sometimes it felt like I was carrying around an anxiety-induced band with me instead of something that's supposed to look out for my health. Alright, let's move on. So besides all these new ones, every other health tracking feature on the Galaxy Watch 8 series is as good as it gets, be it heart rate, ECG, sleep, or SpO2 monitoring. And remember the AGEs index that we first saw on the Galaxy Watch 7? I am happy to tell you guys that it's a lot more descriptive and insightful now, with a score system to help me understand how well my biological aging process is going. And not to forget, these are some of my favorite fitness trackers too. I can keep track of all sorts of exercises or even create a custom workout routine, which is something I miss every time I go back to wearing a smartwatch from other brands. I'm also happy to see that Samsung has improved the location tracking this time. It still struggles a bit when I'm walking through some dense city areas, but the results I'm seeing here are better than what I was getting on last year's Galaxy Watch 7, even though both of them have dual band GPS. Okay, so all things considered, I still feel like the new Galaxy Watch 8 and the Watch 8 Classic are some of the best Wear OS smartwatches that you can buy right now. Actually, scratch that. These are some of the best smartwatches that you can buy right now. That's it. They definitely have a bit of polarizing design and a couple of things that Samsung needs to iron out with a few software updates, but I stand by my words. Now, the only major problem I have with the Watch 8 series is its price, because like I warned at the very beginning of this video, these two are quite expensive, and that stings even more when you consider that the Galaxy Watch 7 and even the Watch Ultra are now going for much more attractive prices. The Watch 7 will not be getting that antioxidant index and vascular load feature, but for some 20,000 rupees in India or like $170, it's a much better value than the Galaxy Watch 8. And even if you're a big fan of this rotating bezel on the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic, I would still recommend waiting a couple of months for deals or price drops. It's just way too expensive right now, even more expensive than the Watch Ultra, which is Samsung's most comprehensive smartwatch yet. Alright everyone, that was all for this video. What is your opinion on the new Galaxy Watch 8 series? Do let me know in the comments. And while you're there, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notifications icon to support our channel. Saying this, I'm Pratima and thank you so much for watching.